When did you realize your parents shouldn't have had kids? I was 10, and my entire world revolved around a single piece of cardboard, a mint condition, holographic Charizard card. I had mowed lawns for an entire summer to buy it. It was my treasure. I kept it in a thick plastic sleeve, and at night, I'd take it out just to watch the light catch the holographic flames. One afternoon, a neighborhood bully named Mark, who had a reputation for being mean just for the fun of it, ripped it from my hands. He was bigger, older, and just laughed as he ran off, leaving me standing there, completely heartbroken. I ran home, tears streaming down my face, and found my dad in the living room reading the newspaper. My dad is an accountant. His most exciting hobby is bird watching. He's a man of spreadsheets and quiet routine. I sobbed out the whole story, expecting him to sigh, adjust his glasses, and give me a lecture about being more careful, or maybe offer to call Mark's parents. Instead, he slowly folded his newspaper, setting it down with deliberate precision. He looked at me, and his eyes, usually so calm and gentle, had a flicker of something I'd never seen before, a glint of cold, calculated fire. He knelt down, put a firm hand on my shoulder, and his voice was barely a whisper. "He stole from you. This will not stand. I'll handle it." That night, the house changed. A strange energy filled it. After my mom and I went to bed, I heard the back door creak open. I peeked out my window and saw my dad dragging large beams of wood from the side of the house into the garage. Then came the sounds, a low rhythmic sawing, punctuated by the sharp bang of a hammer. This went on for the next 2 days. My dad, the man who once called a handyman to change a light bulb, was building something. He started coming home from work with strange items, thick coils of rope, a huge canvas tarp, and one time, I saw him struggling to carry a heavy-looking metal counterweight. He looked exhausted, with dark circles under his eyes, but he also looked energized, alive. My mom grew suspicious. On the second night, she asked him, "Honey, what is all that noise in the garage? It sounds like you're building an ark." He just smiled tiredly and said, "Just a little project here, a proactive approach to lawn management." She just shook her head and went back to her book, but I was terrified. What was he planning? I had horrible visions of him confronting Mark with some flimsy wooden contraption, only to have it fall apart and get him hurt. I pleaded with him again. "Dad, please, just call his mom. It's just a card." He looked at me, a smudge of grease on his cheek, and said, "It's not about the card, son. It's about the principle. A man's home is his castle, and his son's treasures are its jewels." I had no idea what he was talking about. The third night was the climax. Around 2 a.m., a deep resonant thump shook the house like a giant had dropped a bowling ball. My heart hammered in my chest. I scrambled to my window, my breath fogging up the glass, and there it was, illuminated by the moonlight, a trebuchet. A full-sized medieval siege engine stood menacingly in our suburban backyard. It was beautiful and terrifying. My dad was standing beside it, a look of intense concentration on his face as he checked the tension on the ropes. In the basket wasn't a rock, but a massive hand-sewn fabric pouch that bulged strangely. He pulled a long rope, and the arm of the trebuchet swung upwards in a silent, deadly arc. The projectile flew through the night sky, a dark shadow against the stars. It landed with a soft poof on the peak of Mark's roof. For a moment, there was just silence. Then, the bag ruptured. A silent explosion of shimmering, iridescent color. A glitter bomb of epic, almost nuclear proportions. A cloud of fine rainbow glitter expanded outwards, catching the moonlight and turning it into 1,000 tiny stars. It rained down, blanketing the entire house, the perfectly manicured lawn, the brand new SUV in the driveway. It was a silent, beautiful, and utterly devastating attack. The next morning was chaos. The sun came up on a scene of pure, sparkly mayhem. Mark's house looked like it had been decorated by a deranged fairy godmother. His dad was outside in his bathrobe, screaming into his phone, his face a mask of fury. He tried to hose the glitter off his car, but the water just turned it into a thick, sparkly paste. The whole neighborhood was out, staring. Later that afternoon, the doorbell rang. It was Mark. He was covered in fine specks of glitter, in his hair, on his clothes. He didn't look at me. He just shoved my Charizard card into my hand and mumbled, "Here." Before I could say anything, he turned and walked away. I closed the door and turned to see my dad at the kitchen table, calmly sipping his coffee. He looked up from his newspaper, met my eyes, and gave me a slow, deliberate wink.